impact our like reply rate. Then I will share my thoughts on how to write effective cold emails, a step-by-step guide, including things like value proposition, intro lines, reason for outreach, call to actions, and so on. Then tons of copywriting tips, and as always, insanely useful bonus content. And we will share everything, recording, templates, slides, and resources with you after the event, and I will share them in the chat, by the way. So stick with us till the end of the webinar. Also, feel free to use the Q&A session and the chat section. So I will check occasionally those things. So I'm super happy to answer your question in real time. All right. So before we jump to the topic, let us know how many reply webinars have you attended so far. Super curious to know how many of them you attended, just for fun. Let's see. Oh, right. Oh, wow. This is the very first one, 70%. 2 to 5. Oh, wow. We'll have lots of people who visited 10 plus webinars. So I guess, well, thanks for visiting them. That like really motivates me to create them further. Okay, so cool. So if you're here for the very first time, so yeah, I hope you will enjoy it because I'm going to share lots of useful content here today. All right. So let's proceed with the slides now. Okay. First of all, why it matters, why cold outreach is still important part of our go-to-market strategy, why we still rely on cold outreach and outbound sales as one of the most important like revenue sources. Why? Because 99% of email users check their inbox every day. They get new emails, they have to check their inboxes, promotions, updates, and so on. So lots of email users check their inboxes. So it's a huge chance we can get in touch with them and receive a reply back. 33% of email recipients open an email based on the subject line. So the subject line is super important when it comes to cold outreach, and I will share why. 45% of subscribers say they are likely to read your email based on who it's from. So that's why it's important to have personal brands, and so on, and that will help improve your reply rates. Mobile devices show up to 30 characters from your email subject line. So again, it's an important one. Emails are the very first thing 58% of people check in the morning. So it's also important to reach out to your prospects when they check their inbox. And an interesting one is the majority of email use come from mobile devices, followed by desktop. So nowadays we live in mobile first world. So we need to optimize our emails and cold outreach to those who view their emails on mobile devices. And when they say cold outreach is dead, it's not true. So for the very first reason here is that number of email users worldwide is growing basically. And it will continue. Why? Because we have lots of countries in Latin, Asia, Africa. They're like getting more and more white collar and blue collar employees, and they all need email addresses, email inboxes, and as a result, we can still rely on cold outreach for I guess for at least 15 years for sure. So don't listen to those of them who say that cold outreach is dead. It's definitely not true. So given this fact, it's not true. Cold outreach is not dead. We need to like adopt our cold outreach, improve it, and for the next 5 years. And that's how we can get better results, right? So when we talk about cold outreach golden rules, so let me know in the comments, what are these golden rules in your opinion? Share one or two tips that you always follow, that will help you, and those rules help you get better results. Let's share some wisdom. Let's see what you have there. For me, for example, golden rule number one is like, don't be salesy and don't be pushy, meaning like be friendly, be casual, informal. So this is like my golden rule number one. So let's see what we all have here. So maybe we can implement those things too. Okay, let me check. Never talk about yourself first. Be cool, short, awesome. Create two-way conversation, not close on the first email. Cool. Explain simply how I or my company can create value. Do your research. I always make it sound like I'm a known sender, a short, snappy title. End with a question. Personalize as much as possible. Avoid the generic intro like I'm reaching out to. Okay, cool. Yeah, lots of great stuff there. Thanks. So when it comes to cold outreach, here are my cold outreach golden rules. Number one is be laser focused on your ideal customer profile and your ideal buyer profile. Why? Because even the best template won't work if you target non-ICP prospects. Like, it just won't work, right? Because you should know your ideal customer, your ideal buyer persona, and so on. Be relevant. Even the best email template won't work if your offer isn't something they are thinking about right now. So our end goal here is to reach out to people who are switching into a buying mode right now. So they're looking for a solution, they're trying to fix a problem or so on. People do not buy products or services, they buy solutions. So our cold outreach should be focused on like solving a solution, solving a problem, not showcase a product or service or our company. Never sell something with cold emails right away. Cold outreach works better if you're polite and tactful. And by the way, not all cold emails should be salesy. We can send something useful, some useful content, useful tools, links, and so on to build relationship. And the really important one, number 5, is properly set up your cold outreach infrastructure. Domains, inboxes, sending limits, deliverability. I guess lots of SDRs nowadays should become like deliverability pros because of those spam policies, all those new things. So like cold outreach infrastructure is getting super important. Why? Because you can create really, really cool template. You can build a really, really great list of prospects, but then for some reason, something goes wrong in terms of domains, deliverability, and so on. So your email will go to the spam folder. So this happens to me nowadays from time to time as well. So chapter number 1, and now how to write those cold emails. And following those rules, we will see. I will try to explain and will try to share all my learnings on how to write really, really good cold emails. Now, step number 1, I think about a cold email as an email template as a structure. So number 1, it's subject line. Number 2, it's greeting. Number 3, it's intro. Then reason for outreach. Then value proposition. Then CTA. Then maybe a PS sentence or icebreaker, and then signature. And then when I think about cold email, I'm trying to do my best to improve every single like element of this structure separately. And so that's how I will explain all those things today. So remember the structure and let's move on. So the very first thing is subject line. as I said, they're more likely to open your emails in the morning on mobile devices, and your subject line should be short, right? So subject line really matters, but we shouldn't overcomplicate it. So when it comes to subject line best practices, here's a quick checklist. First of all, use 1 to 5 words max because it's mobile friendly. They will see every word in your subject line. Longer subject lines will get fewer opens. Data from Gong, from Lavender, they say the same here at Reply. We see that the longer subject line, the fewer opens you get. Do not use caps lock subject lines, because again, you will get fewer opens. Then you can use numbers as social proof, and think about subject line as a short version of an email. Do not use and forward to simulate replies. So forwards, avoid sending emails with subject line with empty subject lines. There is data behind this as well. Avoid using question marks and exclamation marks. Avoid catchy, tricky words at all, like buzzwords, we're number one, we're the best, things like that. Just eliminate them. Then some words might decrease the open rate. For example, some words or phrases like quick question, quick chat, may decrease the open rate. Emojis may help sometimes. No spam words. Again, check the list of spam words, things like pricing, free, offer, and so on. Timing is crucial. Send emails during business hours. So if you reach out to prospects from different time zones, make sure you like segment them based on those time zones. That's how you can increase the likelihood that this email will be opened. And always A/B test. Like create different options of your subject lines, check the results, and then choose the best one. For me, the best subject line ever, and I've been using it since 2015, is something like their company name, then these brackets, and my company name, reply.io. And typically this one helps me generate something between 50 to 80% opens on average. So don't overcomplicate it. And by the way, this one ticks almost all my subject line best practices. So probably that's why it works, because it's simple, it's kind of slightly personalized, no caps locks, not empty. I guess it works because typically when they see something like this, they think it's like about a partnership or a mutual connection, or maybe some kind of a business development opportunity, stuff like that. But again, this one helps me generate lots of opens, and that's why I recommend it to use other SDRs and other salespeople. And when it comes to subject line, here's the very first bonus content. A few years ago, we created a webinar, how to write better subject lines according to data. And this is the last webinar on subject line you will ever need, like tons of data-backed insights. And I go deeper into every single point I mentioned here. Then when we figure out our subject line, we need to proceed with the greeting. Typically, they think that it's not hard, that right? Just create hi first name. But again, sometimes you will see options like hello sir, or there are no first name at all. For example, hi there. So, and sometimes I notice that even greeting isn't something that they think about. In reality, there are a few like best practices here. First of all, rely on commonly used things like hi or hello. Again, we have data on this, and I will show it in the next few weeks, that the best option for cold outreach is hi. This one generates the highest possible reply and open rate. So rely on commonly used hi or hello. Depending on your audience, hey also may be an option. Avoiding using something like dear sir, dear madam. dear Mr. Mrs. Avoid using hi there. Always add first name variable if possible. And and you can go further and personalize greetings based on the prospect's location and country. For example, hola first name if they live in Spanish-speaking countries, I guess. So this one will just a tiny small details that can create your email a little bit warmer, right? Okay, let me check the chat. All right, so Katrina asked, don't numbers increase spam risk? I'm not sure about spam risk, but sometimes I do agree that numbers in subject lines get result in like lower open rates. But again, I'm not sure about like a spam. Again, need to check it more thoroughly. Okay, let's move on. Now, okay, when we have the greeting, probably hi first name, typically, let's proceed with intro line. Typically, other sales influencers say cut this intro line off because it's an additional sentence in your cold email. But I have a different point of view here, and I think that sometimes, maybe even like in 50% of your emails, just A/B testings, use introduction line. What I mean here, use things like, hi first name, Vlad from Reply.io here, an email outreach automation tool for sales and growth teams. So why I use this sentence? Because sentences like this one helps, number one, quickly identify the name of the sender. So first of all, maybe they even know me or they know you, right? So, okay, I remember this guy, I guess. Then they can quickly recognize the company of the sender. Maybe they are already familiar with your company or your product or your services. So that's how they can like relate to your company, to your personal brand. Then you can swiftly introduce your company and what we do here. Like just it's a compressed version of our value proposition. And number four, we can even hyperlink the company name so recipients can easily check our website right away. So there is no need to go further. So I use those intro lines, and typically it helps me. When we have an intro line, now we can proceed with the reason for outreach. When it comes to cold emails, and we need to understand that typically decision makers, they have probably 50 to 100 cold emails per day when it comes to mid-market enterprise decision makers, right? So lots of cold emails every day. And we should explain why we are here, why we are sending one more cold email. So a reason for outreach is something that can help you differentiate from different other salespeople, SDRs, and cold senders. So when it comes to the reason for outreach, I think it's one of the most important parts of cold emails. So thus, when you send someone an email, like always ask yourself, why I'm reaching out to this person and how this like reason will resonate with their prospect's problem. So you need to give your email a purpose. So if you want to give your email a purpose, we need to start with a reason for outreach. And typically we will use phrases like, hey, hi first name, Vlad from Reply.io here. I saw, I heard, I noticed, I read, I watched, I listened. So, and that's how you can explain why you're reaching out to. So you can use different things here. You can use intent-based signals as a reason for outreach, or you can use industry news as a reason for outreach, or something that identify that you can help them. So for example, here are a few examples here. For example, when it comes to department growth signal, we can say, hey, I noticed that company's sales team has significantly grown in the last 6 months, so I thought it might be relevant. Or when they change the job, I can say, hey, I saw you have taken a new position as a VP of sales at company. Congrats. Or when I reach out to old leads in my CRM, I can say, hey, I noticed you spoke with my colleague some time ago regarding using reply at company. So when we have this reason for outreach, it's like a purpose why I'm here, right? So that's why it's so important. And then we can use this reason outreach to hook it to our value proposition. That way, the email will be more authentic and personalized, making the prospect feel that this cold email is written like specifically for them. So that's how we can connect reason, value proposition, and be relevant, basically. And then here are a few examples. When it comes to department growth, we can say, hey, I noticed that company sales team has grown significantly in the last 6 months. How are you making sure your forecast process scales with your team? Or when we reach out to leads in our CRM, we can say, hey, I noticed you spoke with my colleague some time ago regarding user reply at company. I'm not sure if your team has already adopted something for sales outreach, but I think we can explore the solution, right? So that's why it's important to have this reason for outreach. And if needed, we can hook it to our value proposition. Again, think about reason for outreach as something that identifies that your prospect or your accounts in your list are switching to a buying mode, basically. For example, intent data can help you streamline the process and make be relevant at scale, basically. So there is no need to fake your reasons for outreach. And again, when it comes to value propositions, I have prepared 12 cool value proposition templates. So I will share the list. Some of them we use here at Reply. And again, those are short 1 to 2 sentence templates that you can implement in your own cold email templates. And then when we have this reason for outreach, now we can jump to a value proposition itself. Here are some golden rules. Number one, the value proposition is like the most important part of any cold email. Probably it's number one, then number two is reason for outreach. So typically, value proposition consists of 1 to 2 sentences that explain how your services, product, idea, or partnership will help them solve their problem. Typically, it's a separate paragraph within your cold email, and it helps highlight the problem that prospect might have. For example, slow revenue, low conversion rate, messy playbooks, workflow, data, stuff like that. Then we can explain how product, your services, cooperation with this company will help solve this problem. Then we describe the outcome of cooperation with your company, and then we provide social proof. So to simplify this logic, here's how it explained to other SDRs. So we identify the problem, then we offer a solution, then we explain an outcome, and then we showcase a proof of how we help solve this problem. Here's an example. Example number one. So we identified a problem that our prospects, accounts might have, right? Slow revenue growth. Then we as a solution, as a service or an agency or stuff like that, we can explain how we can help solve this problem by bringing them a solution. In our case, it's so we can help automate cold outreach. As a result, an outcome, you can book more meetings, and that's how you can increase your revenue growth, right? Because more meetings, more revenue, more deals, more revenue, and higher revenue growth. And then we show proof. we help customer X, Y to book 10 meetings in 2 months, for example. So here's pretty simple logic. Okay, so I guess I messed up. So this bonus content should be after this slide. So yeah, we have the list of 12 cool value propositions that like follow this framework: problem, solution, outcome, proof. You can mix, by the way. You can start with outcome, then proceed with the solution, then showcase the problem, and then use social proof. So you can like play around with wordings, with steps, but typically you should use all these four concepts in your value proposition. And then when we describe value proposition, how we can help them, use CTA. That's cool to know that some of you said that CTA is super important. I agree. And here are some best practices when it comes to CTAs. Use a maximum of one question across all your emails, because data show that the more questions you ask, the lower reply rate is. 0 questions is better, meaning you can use low friction, like call to action, just saying something like looking forward to hearing from you. Those emails with 0 questions have the highest possible reply rate. So you have to have one clear CTA. Use low friction, interest-based CTA, for example, worst the conversation. So your email should start a conversation, not to push a meeting right away, right? And we should avoid multiple CTAs in cold email, focus prospects on one simple action, meaning your CTA should be either, hey, reply back, book a call, worth a chat, click a link, check a report, accept a connection request. Don't ask too many things right away. And your CTA should be crystal clear and straightforward. Don't use like long sentences there. So for example, instead of this, if you are struggling to build a high quality pipeline for your sales team, I would love to dive deeper and dive further into our service and your convenience. Feel free to add time to my calendar here. So try this. Worth a conversation, or let's chat, let's talk. So no need to use those long sentences. So cut things and make your emails shorter. And when it comes to CTAs, here are really good examples. Is it something you would be interested in? Just out of my curiosity, have you already implemented something for that? Would you find this kind of solution useful? No rush, but is it worth exploring? Open to learning a bit more. Worth a chat sometime next week. How about a quick call? Let's have a quick chat to see if there is a fit. And again, useful bonus content here. I put together like a list of 55 plus really, really cool CTAs. So you can experiment with them. We'll send the link after the webinar. All right. And then PS line or icebreakers. Again, you can make, I'm not like the biggest fan of PS lines and intro lines. I guess it just, if you're relevant, if you have a solution to a problem, if your product is good enough, if you have a brand, so probably you don't need PS lines, because I have a conversation with a few CEOs, even with our founder. He says something like, I don't care about like personalization around my hobbies, my lifestyle, about my LinkedIn. What I really care is like a solution that can help my company grow. So PS lines, just think about PS lines as a funny, maybe like this a cherry on top of your pie, like just like little additional things that could help improve your reply rates. Because again, if you have those personal PS lines, Google and other email providers see that your emails are somewhat unique. They are not templated, right? There is a lower chance to get into the spam folder. So that's why those PS lines helps at scale nowadays. So, but if you want to use them, here are a few ideas. Number one, you can mention their hobbies. Hey, PS, I noticed you're a PS5 fan. What are your thoughts on the new Spider-Man game? Then you can mention recent posts on social media, love your post about top AI tools, acknowledge anniversaries, congrats on being with Reply for 7 years, compliment about their company, recent event in their location or country or community, recent event in the world, for example, what are your thoughts on Eurovision 2024? And again, nowadays it's way, way easier to do that with AI personalization at scale, with tools that helps you personalize emails, just having your LinkedIn URL. And we can do that in Reply as well. Need to play around with it a little bit more on my end. But yeah, if you allow PS or icebreakers, use them. Typically, they will lead to, again, to higher opens and replies. But it depends. So you need to A/B test those things. I agree. Okay, let me check the chat and Q&A session. Is there a variable in reply to be able to identify contact location, a greeting is a local language such as Hola? Unfortunately, no. You need to what's the easiest way here is to have like a spreadsheet and then use if else, if country equals, for example, Spain, then hola else hi, because that's going to be a really, really long if else logic in reply. So I don't recommend that. But if you want, you can use advanced conditional variables inside reply if you want, of course. Where we can access the bonus materials, I will share them after the presentation in the chat and via email in a few days. Hi, Vlad, can you explain how your services handle out of the office? We do have that. There are just workflows based on our triggers functionality. So you can handle those things. Can adding hyperlinks and images lead to a higher risk of being seen as a spam by spam filters? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You remember there is this meme, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Again, it depends. If your link has a higher reputation in the internet, that's fine, I guess. The same with images. If your image is like small in terms of size, like probably 20, 30 kilobytes, then that's fine. Shouldn't be an issue at all. If you send like huge files, 2 megabytes, 3 megabytes, that will definitely impact your deliverability when it comes to cold outreach to someone who hasn't received email from your domain. So that's an issue for sure. Why not bump these icebreakers are too near to the top? Yes, we can mix those things, and that's what I wanted to say. Of course, we can mix the structure, change order, change like wordings for sure. You can put it before intro or after intro, so no problem at all. What are your suggestions for reason for outreach when sending cold emails at scale and you don't have a personal details on the recipient? I will share the template on this. That's a great question. I was thinking about this for a while. Yeah, I'll answer it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so when it comes in the last part of our email structure, are signatures. Okay, again, I have noticed that some SDR, some salespeople like don't spend too much time on this, but they should basically. Why? Because probably again, signature is the least optimized part of a cold email, and many salespeople forget that it's important part of an email template as any other. That's why optimizing signatures for cold email outreach campaigns is also important. So first of all, use simple sign-offs like best regards. Pro tip here, you can localize sign-offs based on prospect location, because in some countries they prefer, I know, for example, in the UK, so we have a few people from UK. Let me know if I'm wrong or I'm correct here. Some people in the UK prefer like kind regards. in Australia they prefer like more unofficial things like I forgot it. Let me see. So let me know what they prefer in Australia, but this one is like unofficial one. I forgot this one sign off. Okay, so you can localize things based on location as well. Avoid HTML heavy signatures. Again, no links, no images, no HTML stuff. Avoid images, stick to one link maximum. And plain text signatures nowadays are preferable when it comes to high volume cold outreach, things like that. So if you want to use signature like on the left side here, don't use it for cold outreach if you want to like scale your outbound sales. Just it's better to stick to a simple text-only signature like best regards, Vlad Luxienko, sales engagement advisor at reply.io. If you want, you can add another link to your LinkedIn page or your phone number. That's it. Don't overcomplicate things because this thing will definitely impact your deliverability. And again, now poll number 2, let me know what's your average cold email reply rate. Let's see the data, what you have here. Oh, thanks, Robert. Yes, it's Cheers. Yeah, I guess they prefer Cheers in Australia. So when it comes to like, especially cold outreach in Europe or Asia, where they have different languages in every country, so we can localize our cold outreach based on greeting, sign off, something like this. Yeah, to the wow, allow that as well. Cheers and thanks are also great. Yep, agree. Oh, wow. Let's see the results. 2 to 5%, 5 to 10. Wow, 10 plus. Okay, I'm not sure what you're doing here because sometimes it's hard to get 10% in cold outreach for sure, but I assume you're masters of cold outbound. Awesome. All right, so typically we have 2 to 5, 5 to 10. Awesome. Yeah, great results. So I guess great to see, great to know. Wow, awesome. So now when it comes to the presentation, let's proceed. And now we have chapter number 2, copywriting tips. So when we have this structure, we know all parts of emails. We try our best to implement all those best practices, and there are always some little things that can help us improve our emails, and those are some small copywriting tips that typically we're for some reason we're avoiding or we don't have time to implement. So let's talk about those copywriting things. Bunch of them. We can use uncertain language, tentative tone, lower the pressure language. We can think about tweetable emails. We can use curiosity language. We can simplify language. We can avoid abbreviation. We can write as we speak, avoid buzzwords, and be ourselves. So let's decode all those things. So when it comes, use uncertain language or tentative tone. Here's what I mean here. We can use sentences like, I'm not sure if you're in the market, not sure if your team has already implemented, or I'm guessing you're thinking about how you will. It looks like you're hiring more salespeople. My assumption is that I thought you might find it relevant. So we can use those things to be like more human when it comes to cold outreach, right? When it comes to curiosity language, we can say, hey, so I'm curious, just out of my curiosity, I was wondering, what if, have you already, curious if you would be open to. So all those things will help be more human at scale, I guess. Be more human at scale sounds crazy, right? Use a lower the pressure language. Here's what I mean here. We can say, no rush, either way, by the way, I hope, If so, for example, instead of saying, is this worth exploring? We can try no rush, but is this worth exploring? So we like, it's a pushback, and we're saying, okay, if you're not interested, no problem at all. I'm just trying to figure out things in your company. Add a sentence like, either way, I hope you're having a good year. Either way, have a wonderful day. So we can use this sentence before a PS line or as a PS line itself, just before the sign off. Just be more casual here. For example, either way, keep building a great company. So you can use this after a call to action, for example. Worth exploring. If not, keep building a great company. Add a sentence like, by the way, thought this cold outreach guide will be useful as a PS line. And then we can maybe even go further and say, by the way, as a VP of sales, I thought that this cold outreach guide will be useful for your sales team, stuff like that. If so, open for a quick chat, right? If you are like in a market, open for a quick chat. So use those lower the pressure language things. So be casual here. When it comes to simplify your language, instead of saying we are a sales engagement platform, we can say we are cold outreach and email automation software. Why? Because sales engagement platform is like for enterprise wordings, for those like who spend lots of time on different things. But for an average person, cold outreach automation software is a better concept than like something like sales engagement platform. What's that? I don't know. So we can keep using sales engagement platform for marketing, and in our cold emails we can use we are cold outreach software. Instead of saying we are conversational and revenue intelligence software, we can say we are a meeting recorder that transcribes and summarizes your call. So simplify your language, avoid abbreviations. Like this is a joke. Seems like we can help cut your CAG by increasing MQL that will convert into PQLs based on NLP, a powered intent signals are cool, but they won't work in cold outreach in most scenarios. So instead of saying CAC, we can say customer acquisition cost. Instead of MQLs, we can say leads. So why? Because the more straightforward your words, the wider your audience. So if you reach out to like a CMO in enterprise account, they of course will understand what MQL means, but they will also understand leads. But when you reach out to someone from a smaller account, local business, they may have no idea what's MQL, or it could be something else in their industry, in their vertical. So you may confuse them, right? So use simpler words. Avoid buzzwords and jargon and things like best in class, we are number one, we are leader in industry, we are top provider, we are the best on G2, like we are the best on clutch and so on. Avoid those things because in reality, they don't care. What they really want, they want to fix their problems. They want to have a solution to their problems. So they don't care about you, basically. It's the same when we go on a dating, right? We are not saying, "Hey, I'm the best mate in Kiev, for example, or in London," right? We're just an average person that wants to have fun, for example, today. I don't know. So there is no need to show off all those buzzwords. And when it comes to be yourself, again, you can put your personality to cold emails. For example, if you prefer a formal voice of tone, use it. If it makes you uncomfortable to use emojis and memes, don't use them. If you prefer storytelling, write a story. If you prefer numbers, use numbers if you're in your cold emails. So be yourself, basically. Nowadays, it's super important to have your own voice, right? Okay, so when it comes to those tips in terms of copywriting, let me know in the chat what's your favorite one or what I'm missing here. Curious to know what I missed here. Just let me know in the chat. All right. To not take things so formally and seriously. Cool. The subject line, sometimes it's hard to get out of that formal mindset. Yeah, agree, especially if you read the same sales influencers on LinkedIn, if you try to implement the same strategies and then we live in this information bubble, right? And they talk about the same things. It's harder to like to think differently. Agree. Yeah. How many cold emails do you recommend in a sequence, and how do you vary the content per email? Oh, wow, that's a great question. It depends on your segment. If you are like SMB SDR or growth marketer, or it's story number one. If you're a mid-market SDR, BDR, or enterprise SDR, so that's a completely different story. So when it comes to high volume, low touch, cold outreach, I would recommend 3 to 4 cold emails, including follow-ups. When it comes to like, I don't know, enterprise, mid-market SDRs, they have their own sequences, probably 10 to 15 steps across emails, LinkedIn, phone calls. But when it comes to cold emails, I recommend 3 to 5 max. And how do you vary the content per email? Again, step number one, it's not a topic of the webinar, but again, quick, my thoughts here. Step number one, use the structure I described today, like subject line, greeting, intro, value proposition, reason for outreach, value proposition, PS line, sign off, and then use simple follow-ups, any thoughts, then send useful content. Hey, as an SDR leader, I think that these like really enormously good content, like insanely useful, what I call, when you send really useful content, tools, free tools, that's definitely a good idea here. And then step number 4, again, you can explain the same the first email just in different format, for example, or using different words. You said the signature with photo is worst. It's only not a spam risk, also because people prefer simple signature. Well, again, because at scale, you send those HTML things and those small images, small icons of, let's say, LinkedIn, email, phone number, and those things typically consume lots of like space of your cold email, and sometimes your signature in terms of kilobytes weight more than the text itself. So it's a bad situation. Your email should be like the most important part in terms of weight in your cold email. So that's why you should avoid them. Um, all right, let's move on. Okay, so copywriting tips. Again, all those copywriting tips. My email could be something simple. Hey, I'm reaching out to you because I noticed that company's sales department has grown significantly in the past 6 months. Um, Congrats, for example, and that's it. But then I add those curiosity language. I thought it might be relevant. Then I am adding this uncertain language, not sure if your company is in the market. And then I say something like, I thought you might be interested in improving your cold outreach effectiveness, for example. And then I'm saying, so I'm curious, would you be open for a cold call? So all those you can implement them here and there and be like more personalized, be like more human at scale. And when it comes to cold email templates, when it comes to high volume, low touch cold outreach, here's how when I have no information about intent, for example, and I don't understand their business in detail, and I have no time to like personalized emails. Here's a cold email template I will recommend. So this will answer your question. Um, um, how I do this, and then I will share the results. Hi, first name, then I can add or I can skip an intro line, hi, first name, Vlad from Reply.io, cold outreach software for sales and growth teams. I'm reaching out to you because I noticed that on your LinkedIn profile that you're working at a company. Given your role as a VP of sales, for example, I assume that cold outreach strategy, outbound sales falls in your wheelhouse. And then I use this like curiosity language. What if your SDR team can book me, like can automate cold outreach at scale and drive more meetings as a result? So basically, this is my value proposition wrapped as a question here. But again, I can iterate different value propositions. This is just an example here. And then my CTA, if you give us a shot on Tuesday or Friday to unpack how other sales team in the tech space are booking more meetings using Reply, I promise we can part ways if you're not impressed. And then I use this PS line to make email warmer. Either way, I hope you're having a good quarter. And when it comes to results, here are the results. Typically, it's like this is just a step number one in my sequence. Typically, it's 5% reply rate in this sequence. So yes, super simple. How I call those kind of templates: high volume, low touch, cold emails at scale, and they still work, and they will work if you follow those golden rules of cold outreach. Know your ICP, know your ideal buyer persona, be relevant, don't be pushy, and those things will work basically. So as you can see here, no personalization at scale, just persona-based, industry-based things. Nothing fancy, but it still works in our case. And when it comes to bonus content, I will share the list of all webinar resources. I know, I can share it right now, just a second. Chat, here we go. Here are all resources I have about this webinar, all of them here. Check them, things like subject lines, value propositions, cold CTAs, templates, even more templates like this one I just recently shown, and cold email and outreach generator, like a custom GPT that will help you create like really good cold emails at scale. Why? Because we trained it on the best ones with no like average or bad cold emails. And then you can download pretty much everything I discussed today in more details, including more examples on our guide on cold emails. I guess this is the very last cold email guide you will ever need. Okay, this is too strong. But yeah, I'm that confident on this guide. So yeah, if not, just let me know and I will improve it. All right, so yeah. And Q&A, we still have a few minutes. Let's go through Q&A. Then feel free to join our community, Sales Pulse community at reply.io/community. I'm sharing even more cool content there every week and so. And if you want to stay in touch, let's stay in touch. Here's my account, LinkedIn account. Super happy to connect with you and discuss even more things on cold outreach, personalization at scale, stuff like that. And yeah, as always, thank you. And I will see you in a few weeks, in 2 weeks on our next webinar. So let's check the chat and Q&A session. Okay. You should be that confident. That was very helpful. Thanks, Crystal. Really appreciate it. Where are you going to put those items in the chat? Oh, sorry. Oops. I sent it to myself. Here we go. Yeah. Thanks for the info. Thank you. All right. I guess we have no questions. We will send everything via our emails in a few days. So I think have a great day.